Did you know that some habits from back home can save you big bucks in the US? For us, saving money isn't just about cutting costs. It's about making smart habits part of our daily lives. In this video, we will share the money-saving habits we've carried with us from Nigeria to the US. Practical tips that have not only helped us cut expenses, but also taught us the value of intentional living. Whether you're looking to save more or adopt smarter spending practices, these tips will inspire you to stick to your roots in terms of the values you had from back home. Welcome to Cash Talk for Immigrants, where we share our journey in the US here to help you save and build wealth. I'm Christine, and as always, I'm here with my beloved
Wachuku, Vidal Wachuku. Now, when we first arrived at the very first home we stayed in my assigned pastorate back in Florida, a church member who was an electrician came by regularly to help us with some electrical repairs. One day, after looking around, he commented, he said, "Mr. Wachuku, I've never seen the lights on in any other part of your home. And your TV is hardly ever on. Do you even watch it?"
Yes,
well,
we do.
My wife responded.
Yes, we do. But when no one is watching, we switch it off. That's been our habit since Nigeria. He was shocked. He told us that, oh, my TV is on from the moment I wake up and it stays on till I go to bed. I even leave it on when I go to work. We were like, what? And then he continued and said, all my lights come on too and stay on throughout the day.
And I rolled my eyes and said, wow, that is America for you. So I proceeded to explain to him how these small habits can add up over time. I made it clear that we had always been in the habit of switching off any lights that were not in use or appliances that were not being used. We were doing this way back from Nigeria and we continued doing it here. Yes. We didn't see any reason to change.
Yes.
And we are sure it was also helping to keep our bills low. Now, the interesting thing is that conversation challenged him and sparked a change for him. In fact, there's a deeper change we'll talk about someday. But now for today, we now want to share these habits with you also. We pray and hope that the things you did back home, that you have set aside because you think you're in America now, you resurrect them after hearing this video and get back to doing them that help you in saving costs.
Exactly, because they have saved us hundreds, maybe thousands over the years. We formed these habits when we first got married, and we've taught them to our children also. So let's start with the TV that the church member talked about. It's so tempting to leave the TV on when you're not even watching, but that's a drain on your energy bill. For us, it's become second nature to turn it off whenever we are done watching, and that's just the few times we even do. Also, during summer, we turn off our fans when we leave a room. While the energy consumption may not be much, but over time, it does add up.
And as far as the TV goes on, or as far as it goes with the TV, we don't only just turn it off, we unplug it from the socket completely. Did you know that even when an appliance is turned off and it's still plugged in, it's still consuming power? Yes, you might be surprised. I know, because we were just as surprised when we learned this.
Yes, even though we had been practicing it, but when we really saw the confirmation, it was like
it was quite surprisingly. But it's known as standby electricity loss or phantom or vampire electricity.
Vampire.
It's sucking your blood, sucking your money. An apt name because it actually sucks your pocket dry.
Yeah, sucks the dollars out of your pocket.
Now, according to the US Department of Energy, this can account for up to 10% of a home's energy use. So we make sure we unplug phones, laptops, chargers, toasters, coffee makers, any other small electronic when once they've been used or they are fully charged.
Exactly. So apart from saving money, doing so elongates the life of the appliance, because we bought a new electric kettle, and in the instructions, it was written there that when you're done, you should unplug it.
And don't even leave water in it.
Yes. So also unplugging reduces the hazards for kitchen appliances that have heating elements. This applies also to lights, like switching off. As the church member noted, we never leave lights on in a room when no one is there. Teaching our kids to do this has made a big difference in their own lives, as they religiously do the same in their homes.
Now, let's talk about Barbie, right? Now, shortly after our marriage, she started barbing my hair. I can't really remember how and why that happened, but somehow she started barbing my hair and she became my barber, right? Apart from a brief interlude in Abuja, she has barbed my hair ever since. This is 36 years plus of marriage life. Interestingly, since we came to the US, I have had a professional haircut only once. And that was about a year into our stay because I simply wanted to experience it, have the American experience of having my hair cut here. That haircut in 2012 cost me about $15 there. And because my hair grows fast, I have to cut it every 2 months. That is 6 times in a year that she has to barb my hair. Now, depending on the location, a professional cut today would be between $20 and $50. Taking an average of $25, for instance, per haircut, that would amount to about $150 a year that we've made in savings from haircuts. So in other words, for the 13 years that we have been here, we have saved about $1,950 just from you being my barber. I'm owing you a lot. That's a lot of money.
Now, let's talk about water. The first time church members came to our home for a church event that we hosted, we were shocked by how wasteful Americans can be. They left the kitchen tap running the entire time while doing dishes. And this was an event that had about 60 people, more than 60 people in attendance. So you can imagine the amount of dishes. We were literally cringing. Occasionally, my husband will sneak into the kitchen and then do something around the sink and turn off the tap. But oblivious to what he had done, the person washing will open it and then leave it running again. We were thankful when they left, but made it a point to let them know in advance of our next hosting that wasn't our pattern.
Exactly.
The truth is that by turning off the tap between soaping and rinsing when doing dishes, we save water and money. But then you may be asking, why not just use the dishwasher, right? We believe that the dishwasher uses electricity also. So when we don't use the dishwasher, we are saving on electricity and also on water. Because think of it, when I turn the dishwasher on and I just hear that first drop in of water, gush of water, like I just feel as if it's millions of gallons of water that is just gushing in there. But when I wash by myself, I'm able to control the use of the water because I turn it off, I do my soaping and everything, then I turn it on and then I rinse. So I feel I use
and we don't even
water.
Turn it on at full blast.
Yes. So we use less water. That's why we don't really use dishwasher always. Sometimes we do use it, but it's not a frequent thing in our home.
It reminds me, talking about water, reminds me of my secondary school days. I was in a boarding house. And I remember that back in the day, because we didn't have water running in the school,
Yes.
we had to go to a stream to fetch water. And of course, water was a precious commodity. If you fetched your water, you gathered it jealously and you used it miserly.
Yep.
So we learned how to take a proper full bath with probably 2 or 3 cups of water. You are able to take a bath.
Yes.
Because you soap yourself, just put a little soap yourself, and then gradually you start using the water to clean off the soap from your body.
Yes.
So it became part of us, so that's something that we learned. Because I remember when we first came to the US, and we were in the home of our guest or for our host, and I noticed the way that they were doing their dishes and leaving the water to run. Honestly, I thought that water wasn't paid for. That was, frankly speaking, that was the first impression I had.
For where?
I thought it wasn't paid for. I thought it was part of, the advantage of being in America, the freebie you get in America. At that time, I didn't know that there was no free lunch with Uncle Sam. So that is something that helped us. That background we came from helped us to maintain that same mindset. When we now came to live here, we never leave the tap running. Even while brushing our teeth, we don't even do that. We use a cup to fetch the water that we need and use it. And then in the shower, almost like what we did at secondary school, we turn on the water to wet our bodies enough, then turn it off and do all the soaping and all the scrubbing and everything that you want to do. Do all that before you turn it back on, just to wash out the soap. And so you find that we are using less than half the amount of water the average American would use to take a shower.
So when we came here, we bought a brand new 40-inch TV. 2 years into using it, that same electrician church member, he always came to assist us with one thing or the other. He advised us to upgrade by purchasing a 50-inch. Black Friday was coming up, so he was trying to explain to us that, for Black Friday sales, the prices of things are slashed to half the price or even less than that. So you just pick up things for peanuts.
That was still money.
Yeah, I told him we don't watch TV much, so why would I want to buy a bigger TV? Besides, the TV was still working well, and we were not going to just spend money just for the sake of spending money because something was on sale. It might be on sale, but it's still money I'm still going to use to buy it, money that I can use for something else that may not be budgeted for that. So, believe it or not, we still have that TV to date, 13 years later.
I remember when another church member pointedly told me to replace our second-hand 2009 Chevy because according to him, it wasn't befitting enough for a minister of the religious organization we belonged to at the time. However, I looked him straight in the eye and told him that the car was perfectly serving our needs. And as long as it was efficiently doing so, we would keep it. This conversation was about 5 years ago, but you know what? We are still using that car today. And it's not costing us an extra dime other than regular maintenance. In fact, that car is so cheap because even the fuel consumption is so low. So we still keep it. One thing we have learned to do over the course of our lives is always to ask ourselves that question: do we really need this thing? If we have something that is working, why change it? Exactly. Why just buy just because we want to become like the Jones or join the new trends? No, we don't do that.
So another thing is that buying in bulk is a habit we have also maintained. It's a huge money saver, especially when it comes to non-perishables like grains. Back in Nigeria, I remember we bought large quantities of tomatoes, things that were in season. So tomatoes, we can grind them and freeze them. Most times when disaster strikes and store shelves are empty, we don't panic because we already have those things in stock. We also do not change our wardrobes just for the fun of it. And when we do not go for designer labels. We have clothes and shoes that we came from Nigeria with that we still use till date.
In fact, talking about clothes that we came from Nigeria with that we still use till date. Look at this. This is one of such. This dress was given to me by my pastor then in 1993 when we were relocated to Abuja. And I'm still using it till date.
Yes.
Look at it. It's still looking good. Why wouldn't I use it? Why should I? It's 31 years old. It's older than my youngest daughter.
Yes.
But I'm still using it.
Yes.
So that's how we do.
And even when we buy quality clothing here, when we decide to do, we first start with thrift stores, because you can find quality designer even labels in thrift stores for half the price or a quarter of the price than going to buy them brand new.
My job as a minister required us to travel extensively across the state, which often meant dining out during our trips. Now, we were always surprised to see how packed these restaurants were. Sometimes we had to wait 30 to 40 minutes or even an hour just to be seated.
Yep.
You know, the culture here is folks eat out, and it's very significant. So you can imagine what happened during the pandemic. That's why it was so serious.
Yes.
Because that's part of the culture. And takeouts and deliveries are even more common here. It's a way of people socializing with friends and family. So it's part of their culture. It's something that they are used to. But in reality, it's not really part of our own culture. Our folks really don't eat out that frequently at home. Okay? But coming back to the US, according to a recent US food survey, the average American spends about $166 per person every month on dining out.
Yep.
Wait for the calculation.
For a family of 4, like ours at the time, adopting this lifestyle would have meant spending around $664 per month, which comes to $7,968 per year.
Wow.
Just pause and let that sink in. $7,968
on dining out.
Yes, for your tummy. For us, cooking at home and inviting friends over was more our thing. So we just decided to keep this aspect of our culture as it was and still is more cost efficient or cost effective. Being new immigrants, we didn't think it was wise to spend our hard-earned resources on our bellies.
Stomach infrastructure, as they will call it.
Just because it was the American culture. Of course, once in a while, perhaps an anniversary or other special occasions, we would dine out to market.
And that brings us to something else that is an expensive lifestyle here. Buying and consuming our local African foods.
Yep.
Yes, most of us, we want to keep eating our local African foods. We forget that because they are imported, they are super expensive. So what my wife has done is to find substitutes to still give us some semblance of home food. And we feel we are eating home food. We do eat some home food at times. Don't get us wrong. But you don't make it an everyday staple. And you look for substitutes. So watch out for a video where she will share some alternatives to our African food ingredients that will still give you that impression you are eating homemade food. Stockfish is something that we like. For those of us from Nigeria and the Eastern part, you know what stockfish is? It's a rare delicacy. We use it only once in a while because it's pretty expensive here. It is expensive. In fact, anything that is ridiculously expensive, we eat only once in a while.
Yes.
except we happen to bring it from Nigeria when we travel home or somebody brings for us.
Exactly. Another major game changer is avoiding impulsive spending. We don't buy things just because we can. And when we do, we buy quality things that will last a long time. So in Nigeria, what we did was to save and then made installment payments.
Save for the down payment,
yes,
then made installment payments.
Yes, and that example applies to the mahogany dining table that we had, even the bed and the children's double bunk. We paid over time.
This was in Nigeria.
Yes, and we used them for almost 24 years. And when we were coming to America, we sold them for a higher price, even though it was years after.
24 years. Yes, we sold them for much higher than we made them.
Yes.
So we still use that same approach here in the US. We save for more significant purchases, or if we want to spend a well-deserved vacation. Now, coming to the furniture, we first bought used household items when we first came, but we still bought quality stuff even though they were used. Then we, however, plan that we will get newer quality ones over time.
Yes.
Our first dining table here in the US was custom made, but we financed it. It cost us a lot of money, but we had to pay over 12 months. We wanted some specific features, and we are still using that table till now. In fact, it's been guaranteed to last 30 years minimum. Then our current seats, the leather seats we are sitting on right now, we bought also through interest-free financing and paid over 12 months. We're not paying we didn't pay any interest on them, but we got them. In fact, when we first moved to Texas, we did not even have furniture, living room furniture, for almost 3 months because we wanted to get something quality that will last time. And these ones we got now, we have been guaranteed to last 25 to 30 years minimum. And so that is one thing we recommend, a habit that we should do for our people when you are here.
Yes, and then to mark our 35th wedding anniversary and the 40th year of him leaving the university, we saved for over 2 years to take a 1-week Mediterranean cruise through 3 European countries. So you can see that we don't just wake up and take the next paycheck and go do something. No, we plan towards it. We're intentional in how we use our money.
Now you may wonder, hey, these guys so perfect? They've never made bad decisions. We've made a couple of bad decisions, I can assure you. But the one area we made a real big bad decision on was with cars. Now, watch out for our video on the subject. You will find it very interesting. Don't miss it when it comes out. But by and large, we have truly discovered that little financially prudent habits really add up over time. We may not see the savings right away, but when we check our bill and bank accounts, it's clear we are doing the right thing, right?
We're doing something right.
We're doing something right, okay?
So please share with us in the comments the habits you had from home that you abandoned, that this video has made you realize could save you dollars.
It might not be much.
Yes.
A few dollars. Little drops of water makes a mighty ocean.
Yes,
by the time, over time, it now adds up.
Exactly.
Look at what we saved on bobbing my hair alone.
Yes. And then also, if you have other habits that we may not have mentioned that you use to save money, also share them in the comments. We will love to know.
Start small, but start. Make these habits your own. Some of the habits we've shared with you, those you came with, and see how much you can save each month. Please don't just say because you're American, you must behave like the Americans. Use what helps. Use what serves you. And by so doing, it puts you on the path to building sustainable wealth. Our playlist right here details many other things, other tips to make your immigrant experience a joy rather than a sorrow. We will meet you there.